High in the mountains outside Oaxaca sits probably the most surreal natural landscape we saw in Mexico, Hierve el Agua, a petrified waterfall created by mineral deposition from the nearby water springs, where you can spend the afternoon swimming in the rock pools. But getting there, that part wasn't quite so relaxing.
Buen dia, good morning. It is now day 6 of 94 of our Latin America journey. It's about 8:30 in the morning and we're just going to grab some breakfast and coffee before starting our day trip. We are waiting at the bus stop. Our journey today is going to be a bus and then 2 colectivos, kind of like little tuk-tuk shuttle type things to get to Hierve el Agua.
Yeah, el Agua? I don't know.
Yep. So we did have a fairly strange experience on the bus. We rode approximately 2 stops before the bus driver did a U-turn, reversing back on the highway the other way, and kicked everyone off the bus. From Google Maps, it looks like there was an accident or something on this main road. So maybe not an accident, it looks more like a protest or a parade or something like that, which has shut down the entire other side of the road. So far, the traffic in Oaxaca has definitely been pretty bad. Pretty chocker and slow progress, but anyway, we're
on the
keep
way.
on going. So we've done part of the walk to where we're expecting to pick up the next colectivo, supposed to be a lime green bus, and we take it half of the way and then jump on a different one to go to Hierve el Agua. Not particularly clear where to stop or anything, so we're going off info from TikToks, but yeah, hopefully we'll be able to work it out.
Really good, useful stop.
Quick stop at the bus station, but nobody wanted to get on, so we continue. What, 20 minutes more?
Yeah.
And the driver's just got his own Spotify going. Not even Spotify Premium, they still got the ads every now and again. But it's going not too badly.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a laugh. It's just the way that nobody got on.
The driver got himself a juice. Yeah, we want one as well. Gracias.
We made it. Oh no.
Yeah. So we've been making progress on our journey. That bus was about 45 minutes and it was 25 pesos or £1 per person. From that bus station, I use bus station loosely. From the place where we picked up the bus, look for the green fronted bus, and it's going towards Mitla, which is where we are now, and then jump off, and we're waiting for the colectivo, the kind of shared bus shuttle to fill up with people before we'll be on the way. It's going to be 75 pesos to do the last part of the journey, and I think it's 15 to 20 pesos kind of nature reserve fee that we'll pay when we arrive to Hierve el Agua.
I'm gonna be on YouTube. YouTube star. Hi, Papa.
So this is the colectivo. They're waiting for it to fill up with 12 people, then it would cost 75 pesos to get to Hierve el Agua. But if we leave with 10, we can pay 90 instead. So we're jammed in the back, or we can go in the seats in the middle. So we'll see.
Good job we passed here, not
Yeah,
when it was a
wasn't-
one-track road.
For sure, wasn't the worst place to pass it.
No.
So that was a pretty interesting experience. We just arrived at the location. It took us around about an hour to do it in the back of the colectivo. It was a fairly sketchy ride, so quite bumpy. And one of the friends that we met was a native Spanish speaker, so he was speaking with our driver, Umberto, and he learned a bit about various things along the way. For example, the reason why you pay 15 pesos at the bottom is because there was some conflict between the village at the top that earns all the money from entrance fees and the village at the bottom where all the cars drive through. So that's a little kind of tourist tax to the villagers at the bottom. And yeah, it was fairly bumpy, so it probably would be a bit smoother if you get motion sick. Then maybe it might be better to do the tour where you're in a minivan that's a bit better. But otherwise, I thought it was surprisingly smooth considering how bumpy the roads were, but it was still fairly long. We were lucky to be in the front seats, probably a bit more comfortable, but if you're in the back, probably it's a bit bumpier as well. But let's see what we find here. Hola, Pedro. Yeah, let's do that. Wow, amazing views, really cool place. I think we're going to hike the path along the top that will take us to one of the main waterfall-like features, and then you can do some swimming in these natural pools, so we might come back for a little dip when we're all hot and sweaty from the hike. Looks cool?
Yeah, beautiful.
Wow, this is already a good view behind me. Apparently it's only a 5-minute walk to get down to the bottom of the petrified waterfall, which is good because it's about 1 o'clock now, so it's the heat of the day and we're a bit hungry. But definitely we wanted to do this part of the hike to see the views. So that's the view, that's why we do it. Well worth the walk, about 10 minutes maybe from the viewpoints, 15 minutes up from the rock pools down to this viewpoint here, so really not too bad. Mostly paved, a little bit slippy with gravel, but otherwise fairly doable and definitely worth it. Now we're back more to the flat area. The steepest climb I think is done already. That is a bit heavier on the way up, but like I say, still worth it I think. Would you say it's worth it?
Yeah, I mean it's cool down there, but you know, you also get nice views from at the top, so it depends what you want to see.
We went back up to the top where we started, past the pools, to come and have some lunch. We're quite hungry, it's around 2 PM now, so need a cold drink, a bit of a rest, have some food, and then hopefully we'll go down and do a bit of swimming in the pools.
Yeah, maybe dip a toe.
Sounds good. So we did ask the tourists that were eating here before, they said the food was good, so that was good. Local, well, not local recommendation, but foreign recommendation, so it's good enough for us. Demon salsa.
You know what devil was?
Did I?
Diablo or something.
Oh.
Remember?
Yeah, salsa Diablo. Got some vegetarian quesadillas and tostadas.
I don't want the dog.
And the perro. It was good though.
Yeah, nice. Cheesy.
That was our lunch. It was around 240 pesos, a bit less than £10, which is not too bad considering we had two meals and 2 drinks and in the middle of nowhere. So time to go back down to the pools.
Lewis in the water. Hace mucho frío.
Sí.
Vale.
It is very nice to come into the pools. Definitely a bit of a cold shock at first, but you get used to it. A little bit slimy and not clear water, so difficult to see, but not too deep for me. I'm about 6 foot and I'm just walking on the bottom, and super nice views, so definitely worth it. Have a little dip. Struggling to trying to get out with one hand. I know. It's a slippery bit. Just a quick knicker twist back into dry clothes in toilets, which was 5 pesos to go to the toilet or 20 pesos to take a shower if you want to do. But otherwise we just caught up with our friends from earlier because one good idea is to try and get back in your original group. So we've just been chatting with the people that we came up with just to go back together, try and fill the shuttle again, so it'll be around the same price. So yeah, we've got everyone pretty much finished and ready to head back for another bumpy ride home.
I'll sit in the front if you guys are okay with staying in the back.
Yeah, we'll go in the back.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Yeah, right. Is there gonna be space for two? You wanna go here or there? That bus felt really long, about an hour as well. We're back in busy, noisy Oaxaca, and we just jumped off pretty much exactly over there actually.
Yeah.
We jumped off the bus pretty much where we got onto it. I'm not sure what to do next. We're going to do either one more bus to go home, or maybe might go walk around for some of the street art, but it's been a fairly exhausting and long day so far, so I'm not sure. We decided to walk it back to our hotel, about a 25-minute walk, and we're back off the main road now, which is a bit nicer, and straight into some kind of parade, but always cool to see. Lots of walking still, but we're almost back. And we've been looking at other food options. We might go pick up another chocolate meal and suss out a food place to go back to after a little rest at home, I reckon.
No está completamente integrado.
Chocolate products? Is that chocolate chili?
Well, yeah.
Chocolate chili, chocolate honey.
Wow.
Rico?
See.
Muy rico.
We rewarded ourselves with a chocolate frio after a long day. All in all, Hierve el Agua was one of the most unique landscapes we saw in Mexico, and definitely worth visiting. But honestly, we might recommend doing a tour for simplicity and saving time. Then again, the journey can be half the fun. Subscribe for more Mexico travel guides and experiences. See you in the next one.